Hello and welcome to Mechwarrior Online. I wanted to do a review of this wonderful build that I stumbled across. I had to come up with several different builds in order to get to this build. And no matter how much I think about changing it around, this build always seems to come back, no matter what. And yeah, I've changed the paint schemes here and there, but typically when I have an ATM build, this is what I typically go for is the paint scheme. These coloring and this look. It reminds me that it's an ATM build typically. Let's take a look at what makes this thing so special. So I've done reviews on this in the past, but consistently this mech delivers every time I go into battle. It has short range, it has long range, and extra long range. And it stays relatively cool, and it's tanky as hell. It has really good armor, and it has great defensive strategy. It's just really just an all-around great mech. It's absolutely one of my favorite heavy mechs of all time. I can run this as an LRM boat. I can run it as an ATM boat. I can make this as a missile boat, a ballistic boat, anything I want. Hell, if I wanted to, I could make this as a tag boat. I don't think it would do very well, though. So I'm running 4 ATM 9s on here, 2 ER medium lasers, and when I feel saucy, I put 2 heavy medium lasers on here. But typically I don't because it screws up with my heat index. And it says that I have a firepower of 84. Well, you know that ATMs kind of lie a little bit. That's all the way out to 1265 that it's going to do that kind of damage. But at the 60 meter to 280 meter, it's going to do 22 damage each. So that's 88 right there alone, plus another 12 on top of that. That's 98. That's 100. Wow. Actually, I think it's 102. No, it's 100. Yeah, so that's 100 damage on an alpha strike. And I can do that one time. So that is a real alpha strike. I have an alpha strike of 100. It's just devastating. I've been at 0 and on the heat index and come around the corner and just FaceTime with somebody. I put a Night Star in a chalk outline. I sent, flowers to a dire whale. It works really well. You do have to be careful with the heat, though. And when I get into matches a little bit further on, I like to cycle the weapons so that way I don't use up quite as much ammo. Because the one thing this is lacking is on ammo. This has 7 tons of ammo on board, and that's it. Once you run out of ammo, you're dependent on your ER medium lasers, and they do work really well. Now, this is a fully skilled mech, so each one of these tons has an additional 18 shots attached to it. So that's going to give me a fairly good amount of firepower. This it just works so well. It's amazing. This isn't a build, by the way, you can buy. You have to build this. So what have I got here? So I've got a Sunspider C, and I've got the original left and right torsos on here. And then I went with the Bravo left and right arms, and I left everything else the same. And by doing this, you do lose the original features that this thing has, which is like ballistic cooldowns, things like that. I don't care about any of that kind of stuff. Actually, on this one here, you lose missile velocity, which would be nice. Target decay, which wouldn't matter to me because this is an ATM build. And the XP bonus, which I couldn't care less about. But I'm still getting plus 10 armor. And I'm getting plus 7 and plus 10 and plus 7 over here. And when you come to the center torso, I'm still getting plus 10 as well. So that takes us to the meat and potatoes, the skills. Well, the skill tree is pretty universal. And I've run this a lot of different ways. I've run it as a ballistic build. I've run it all different patches back and forth. And this is the build that I come with that comes correct in so many matches, as long as I'm not stupid. If I get stupid, I have low matches. If I'm not stupid, I do really well. So range, heat, velocity, full missile features. I went with skeletal density, armor hardening maxed out. I went with 3 on the reinforced casing, and the reason for that is because with an ATM build, you will spend time in front of the target. It's not like an LRM boat where you can just do indirect fire and fire up over the top of things and vaporize targets without ever actually seeing them. I did add a overheat damage protection, cool run, heat containment, seismic sensor, definitely very useful. Because this is an ATM build, I don't care about target decay as I mentioned before. Radar deprivation and sensor range. Radar deprivation is more important to me than sensor range. And because this is an ATM build, I have advanced zoom, which I sometimes use for targeting mechs at distance without a lock. And then I have 2 cool shots and a UAV. And this basically gets fired just straight up alpha strikes with the ATM-9s most of the time. Like I said, when I get towards the end of a match and I start getting low on ammo, I'll cycle the weapons a little bit. Also, it works with the heat really well. But generally, I just like to let it fly and just do 88 damage every time I hit out on the prowl. And that's what this thing does. This thing goes on the prowl. Anyway, I hope you really like it, and you consider this build, and have a great time. See you in the gameplay.